Listen closely, beloved, because this message isn't coming to you by accident. Something has shifted in the spirit. Something heaven has already overturned. What was designed to destroy you has been divinely reversed. The plot they whispered in secret, the trap they built beneath your feet, it failed. And not just by coincidence. It failed because the hand of God reached down and flipped the script. You were never meant to fall into that snare. You were never meant to be swallowed by their lies, nor broken by their betrayal. Every scheme they built against you has now become the very proof of your protection. Heaven intervened. And right now the Spirit of God is saying, the plot failed because I have need of you. You see, they underestimated your covering. They saw you as ordinary, but you were marked sealed by divine purpose. They threw darts in the dark, hoping something would hit, but every weapon misfired because your name was written in light. You've walked through storms that were never about punishment. They were about revelation. God was revealing to you who was truly for you and who was merely around you. You had to see the truth. You had to witness the masks fall. Because the same people who smiled in public were building traps in private. But here's what they didn't know. Every trap they made only positioned you closer to destiny. Every betrayal you endured only accelerated your becoming. The enemy thought he was orchestrating your downfall, but in reality, he was building the stage for your divine unveiling. And now the tables have turned. What was meant for evil has already been reversed for your elevation. The Spirit says you will not fall into that pit. They will. The same pit they dug for your reputation, your peace, your purpose, will now become their own revelation that they can't curse what God has blessed. This message is your confirmation. The snare is broken. The plot is exposed. The trap has failed. And you, chosen one, are walking out with your head lifted high because heaven fought for you behind the scenes while you were still praying for peace. The battle wasn't yours to win, it was God's to reverse. And as you stand here breathing in the peace that follows the storm, something in your spirit already knows that this victory wasn't won by your own hands. It was divine intervention. It was the unseen hand of God moving pieces you didn't even know were on the board. The reversal didn't come from your strength. It came from His sovereignty. Because before the trap was ever built, heaven had already drafted the escape route. You see, there are moments in your life where God will stay silent, not because He's absent, but because He's arranging justice. He was watching when they smiled at you, but whispered behind your back. He was listening when your name was dragged through conversations never meant for your ears, and instead of rushing in to defend you immediately, He waited because divine timing doesn't panic. It plans. There's something sacred about how heaven moves in secret. When you thought nothing was happening, angels were already being assigned. When you couldn't see progress, God was dismantling the devices formed against you one by one. He was breaking agreements made in darkness. He was cutting off alliances that were not meant to prosper. And now what was once covered by deceit is being exposed by divine light. It's almost poetic, isn't it, that the very thing meant to destroy you became the stage for your vindication, that the pit became the platform, that the delay became the delivery. Because when God steps in, He doesn't just rescue, He rewrites. He says, I have seen the arrows, but I made them miss. I have seen the words, but I turned them to dust. I have seen the snares, but I have broken them before they touched your feet. You might not have realized it then, but every closed door, every broken connection, every unexpected ending was God's way of rerouting you around destruction. Had you forced your way through, you would have walked straight into a setup. But grace blocked it. Mercy rerouted it. and divine wisdom reversed it. That's why some things never made sense until now. You didn't lose those people, you were delivered from them. You weren't rejected, you were redirected. Because the truth is, if they could have, they would have destroyed your peace. But God said, not this one. This one is marked. So He allowed their plan to unravel before your eyes, not to hurt you, but to teach you discernment. You had to learn that not every smile hides sincerity, and not every hand extended in friendship carries good intention. Heaven was preparing you for promotion, but before elevation comes revelation, and before revelation comes exposure. Now the hidden has been revealed. The unseen has been uncovered. And what remains is divine truth, the kind that sets you free, not just emotionally, but spiritually. So let your heart rest tonight, because what they plotted in darkness, God reversed in light. And the same voices that once tried to bury you will soon testify that you were covered all along. This is the hour of divine reversal, the moment when the unseen work of heaven begins to show itself in the physical realm. And even now the Spirit is whispering, I have turned it. I have overturned it. I have reversed it. You may not see it yet, but evidence is already manifesting around you. The atmosphere has changed. Your dreams have shifted. Even your peace feels different, calmer, deeper, more anchored. Because you're no longer standing in survival. You're standing in revelation. There was a time when confusion clouded your vision. You couldn't understand why everything around you was crumbling. Friendships fell apart. Opportunities vanished. You were left standing with nothing but your faith. But that's exactly where God wanted you, because it's only when you're stripped of human security that you discover divine protection. The plot they built was complex. Some of it came through manipulation, others through deceit. They spoke words to bind your confidence, to make you question whether you were truly chosen, to make you second-guess your purpose. But here's what heaven did. God took the very structure of their trap and used it as a blueprint for your breakthrough. Like Haman in the book of Esther, he built gallows for Mordecai, but ended up hanging on them himself. The same principle stands today. The snare was built for your fall, but it became the scene of your vindication. God says, I have allowed them to plan it, so I could prove that no plan succeeds against my anointed. The reversal is not just personal, it's prophetic. It marks the beginning of a divine shift where every scheme collapses under the weight of truth. Watch as situations begin to reverse with no human explanation. Watch as peace returns where confusion once lived. Watch as doors open that others tried to close. Heaven is rewriting your story in real time. The conversations meant to discredit you will now confirm your favor. The rooms where your name was mocked will echo with your testimony. The hearts that turned cold will now witness your restoration. You are stepping into a realm of visible vindication. Not because you fought back, but because you stayed still long enough for God to fight for you. He says, because you did not retaliate, I will elevate. Because you held your peace, I will make them see your promise. So when things start to shift, and they already are, don't rush to explain it. Don't waste time justifying yourself. Your proof will be your peace. Your validation will be your victory. And your blessing will speak louder than your defense ever could. This prophecy isn't just about what's ending, it's about what's beginning. For every false alliance that collapsed, a divine connection is on the way. For every opportunity stolen, new doors will open with ease. For every tear sown, joy is being returned sevenfold. The trap failed. The plot collapsed. The curse reversed. And now what remains is the story God wrote all along, one where you rise not as the victim of betrayal, but as the vessel of redemption. The deeper meaning behind this reversal runs far beyond human understanding. Because what you went through wasn't just an attack, it was initiation. In the spiritual realm, every chosen vessel must face the test of betrayal. Not because God delights in your pain, but because purpose cannot bloom in comfort, it blooms in pressure. The enemy targeted you not for what you did wrong, but for what you carried that he couldn't stop. He saw the anointing before you did. He recognized the light you hadn't even learned to see. And so he sent distractions disguised as relationships, invitations wrapped in deception, and opportunities masked as sabotage. But the paradox of destiny is this: the harder they tried to break you, the stronger your spirit became. The more they spoke against you, the more heaven amplified your name. The more they pushed you out, the more God pulled you in. Your journey became the very classroom where wisdom was born. You learned that silence is sometimes the loudest response. You discovered that rejection can be protection in disguise. And you realized that isolation wasn't punishment, it was preservation. God was separating you for something greater. He was teaching you the difference between those who stand with you and those who stand near you for what you carry. He was stripping away counterfeit connections so your circle could match your calling. There's also a deeper spiritual principle at work. Reversal is heaven's signature move. It is the divine rhythm of justice, where what was intended for harm becomes the platform for glory. Think of Joseph, falsely accused, but promoted in the same land that imprisoned him. Think of Daniel, thrown into the lion's den, yet emerging untouched. Think of Esther, who stepped into favor when her people were marked for destruction. Each story carries the same divine pattern. When the enemy writes a trap, God turns it into testimony. So do not fear what was plotted. It was never greater than the power within you. You are not the product of the pit. You are the proof of divine reversal. The reason you feel different now, lighter, more at peace, more sure, it is because you've crossed over into awareness. You've seen how darkness operates, and now you carry discernment like a sword. You are no longer naive to manipulation. You are no longer dependent on validation. You walk with quiet confidence, knowing heaven is your defender. This is what it means to mature spiritually, to let God reveal, remove, and redeem without needing to retaliate. Because when you trust Him with justice, you inherit something far greater than revenge. You inherit divine rest. This reversal, therefore, is not just about what failed around you. It's about what awakened within you. The trap exposed your enemies, yes, but it also revealed your strength. You now carry the authority of one who has seen darkness and refused to bow. That's what makes you unstoppable. That's why no curse can cling to you. That's why every attempt to derail you has only refined your purpose. And as you move forward, remember what was meant to break you became your building ground. The very ashes of betrayal are turning into the soil of breakthrough. Because God didn't just reverse the trap, He rewrote your entire path. You'll know the reversal has begun by the subtle shifts around you. Heaven always leaves fingerprints, small signs that whisper, "It's turning." The first sign is peace after pressure. Where chaos once screamed a strange calm, now settles. Your spirit feels lighter, your sleep deeper, your thoughts clearer. That's not random serenity. That's divine confirmation that the battle is over. Peace is heaven's signature of completion. The second sign, unexplainable restoration. Things that were delayed begin to move again. People who walked away are replaced by better ones. Opportunities you thought were lost suddenly return in improved form. God doesn't recycle what's broken. He resurrects it better. The third reversal of reputation. Those who doubted you will start speaking well of you without knowing why. The same rooms that once dismissed your name will begin to echo it in respect. That's not coincidence, that's the divine hand rewriting public perception. The fourth sign is divine reminders. Feathers, numbers, songs, verses. You'll notice repeated patterns that tug your awareness toward gratitude. Heaven uses repetition to get your attention, a familiar lyric at just the right moment, a scripture aligning perfectly with your prayer, a number sequence whispering completion. And finally, inner knowing. No prophecy, no preacher, no proof, just certainty. A still voice within says it's done. That's the Spirit confirming what the eyes can't yet see. When these signs appear, don't question them. They are not superstition, they are synchronization. Heaven communicates through patterns, and those attuned to the Spirit recognize the rhythm. So as these confirmations manifest, receive them without fear. They are not warnings, they are witnesses. Each one testifies that the plot has failed, the plan reversed, and the promise is now in motion. Yet before the full promise blooms, there will be moments that test your patience. Not everything reversed instantly. Some things must unravel slowly. You may face echoes of the old battle's sudden doubt, subtle triggers, faint reminders of pain. These are not new attacks. They are fading memories leaving your system. Do not interpret discomfort as defeat. It's just detox. There may also be isolation, again, temporary quietness where few understand you. That silence isn't punishment. It's purification. God removes noise before revealing new instructions. You're being fine-tuned for precision. Another hidden challenge, temptation to prove yourself. After vindication comes visibility, and with it, pride's invitation. But remember, your defense was never your own. Stay humble. Let peace be your statement. Let integrity speak louder than explanation. And then comes weariness, because even miracles can be exhausting after long warfare. Rest when God says rest. You are not lazy for stepping back. You are wise for recovering strength. These challenges don't mean the reversal failed. They mean the new season is solidifying. Every test that remains is refinement, not rejection. Heaven is ensuring you can sustain what you prayed for. So when the enemy tries to whisper, "Nothing changed," respond softly. Everything did. Because even if the scenery looks familiar, the authority has shifted you. Now walk as one who has seen behind the curtain and cannot be deceived again. Now that the trap has failed and the tide has turned, heaven gives instruction. Not to burden you, but to preserve your blessing. Instruction 1. Guard your peace. Every victory births distraction. The enemy cannot trap you again, so he'll try to drain you. Be selective with conversations. Peace is currency, spend it wisely. Instruction 2. Speak life only. Do not rehearse the pain. Do not narrate the betrayal. Each time you retell the wound, you reopen the scar. Instead, declare restoration. Say aloud, "The story ended in my favor." Words build worlds. Create wisely. Instruction 3. Stay in gratitude. Thank God not just for what changed, but for what didn't. Thank Him for the doors He closed, for they were exits disguised as opportunities. Gratitude magnetizes grace. It keeps the flow continuous. Instruction 4. Write the vision. When reversals happen, new directions follow. Document what God whispers now, the ideas, dreams, encounters. These are blueprints for your next assignment. Record them before distraction steals memory. Instruction 5. Forgive completely. Not for their sake, for yours. Forgiveness breaks spiritual residue. Bitterness is the only snare that can reset a reversed trap. Release them so heaven can release you. And finally, Instruction 6. Walk forward without fear. The past cannot repeat. The cycle is broken. You carry new authority. Speak as one who knows the outcome. Move boldly. Act decisively. Love freely. For the Lord says, "Those who plotted against you will see your peace and be silenced. Those who mocked your stillness will watch your speed." Go forward, for I have paved the way. These instructions are not mere advice. They are spiritual armor. Follow them, and no trap can reform against you. Ignore them, and you risk returning to old circles where grace no longer resides. So choose obedience. It is the bridge between revelation and realization. You are surrounded not by enemies, but by angels. Even now, unseen guardians stand at the corners of your path. Their presence is subtle, but their power is unmatched. When you walk into new spaces, they go before you. When you rest, they encamp around you. When you pray, they amplify your voice through heaven's corridors. You felt it, that chill that wasn't fear, but presence. That warmth in your chest mid-worship. That sudden peace before making a hard choice. That was protection manifesting. God has stationed covering over your name. No weapon can bypass it. No curse can override it. No word spoken in malice can penetrate it. He says, I have marked you with light, and wherever light rests, darkness flees. So walk boldly. You do not move alone, you move escorted. Your journey is now divinely insured by covenant. Even if attacks attempt to form again, they will dissolve before arrival. The spiritual radar of heaven has your coordinates locked. Anything unclean approaching your orbit will self-destruct. You are not fighting for safety anymore. You're living from it. Rest in that truth. The reversal wasn't temporary, it was eternal. The covering isn't seasonal, it's sealed. Let this settle deeply. You are safe. You are kept. You are guarded by grace. Now comes the unfolding. The season where what you've endured becomes what you embody. Transformation is here, not loud, not sudden, but undeniable. You'll notice your words carry weight. Your presence changes atmospheres. People will feel peace near you without knowing why. That's what happens when someone walks with divine reversal power. They radiate restoration. Your confidence won't come from applause anymore, but from awareness. God is with me. You will no longer chase. You will attract. You will no longer explain. You will simply exist as evidence. The blessings arriving will not just replace losses, they will redefine them. The betrayal that once broke you will become your brand of wisdom. The silence that once scared you will become your sanctuary. The pain that once paralyzed you will now prophesy through you. And when others ask how you survived, you'll smile and say, the plot failed. That testimony will unlock faith in countless others. Your endurance wasn't just for you, it was for every soul watching your rise. Because divine reversal is contagious. It multiplies in the atmosphere of belief. This is your fulfillment, to stand restored, radiant, renewed, not because everything went right, but because even what went wrong became right in God's hands. This is your transformation, from target to testimony, from wounded to warrior, from the one trapped to the one trusted. You will look back soon and whisper, it all makes sense now. And heaven will echo back, it was necessary. Take a deep breath. Let these words anchor in your spirit as divine sealant over this message. Affirmation 1. I am divinely protected, divinely guided, and divinely restored. Affirmation 2. No plot can prosper, no curse can cling, no plan can prevail against me. Affirmation 3. My peace is proof, my stillness is strength, my victory is inevitable. Affirmation 4. God reversed it, and I rise redeemed. Repeat them softly until your soul believes them, because affirmation is agreement, and what you agree with, you activate. Now receive this final blessing. May the same hand that reversed the trap continue to rewrite your story with grace. May your footsteps be light, your heart untroubled, and your path illuminated with divine favor. May every false tongue be silenced, every closed door replaced with something greater. And may you walk into this next chapter, not as the wounded one, but as the witness of heaven's justice. The plot failed. The curse reversed. The storm subsided. And you, the one who endured, now rise in peace. So rest, beloved. For what was meant to bury you has become the ground of your blooming. It is finished and it is fulfilled.